It's a rocky episode with classic movie banter, 'cause it's a rocky. There's a sex robot and a kid with a video camera, and he's gonna punch communism in the face.
So Nathan, hello.
We
How
return.
We're back again.
I've come at the turn of the tide.
I have a thing to ask you today.
Oh, okay.
What is your view on GIFs, or as the elderly call them, GIFs?
GIFs. Oh, wow. When you say what is your view, I thought you were going to go in like a weird, like, I don't know, political or religious direction. I'm like...
I'm still going to. No, I'm kidding.
I'm like, I get on my knees and praise GIFs every day. I love them. I'm not an excessive user of them, to be honest with you, Brenton. I think I have mates who GIF too much, one would say. And that GIF is not a gift by any stretch. What does GIF stand for, by the way? Do you know?
I have no clue. Part of me doesn't want to know either. Part of me just wants to add that word to the dictionary. And that just... it exists now. You know what I mean? Like,
you and I have sent the odd Spider-Man trilogy gift to each other, and it's been quite beautiful when we do. But, like, do you use them a lot?
It's always of Willem, let's be honest.
Oh, always Willem. I know we should. There's a lot more. Oh, there's the one of, like, Tobey Maguire crying, which is quite good. But there's a few where it's not Willem. But do you use a lot of GIFs?
No, I don't. But I find a lot of other people who use more GIFs nowadays. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
So, for instance, you know, I have, you know, been out in society occasionally.
Yeah,
you know,
you're contributing. You're paying your taxes, Brenton. This is good.
You meet someone new. Sometimes it might be, someone of the opposite sex that you're like attracted to.
Have you dated
they might
a
be
GIF?
attractive to you. So let me get to the story.
Ooh.
I later found out that she was a GIF. No. No, but my point is that you exchange numbers, you do that whole shtick.
Oh yeah.
And then you get a bunch of GIFs.
Oh, what? As in, you've met a girl out and you've got a numbers, and then the next day you're just flooded with like SpongeBob.
This has happened more than this has happened more than once. It's just more in conversation that you're like you're conversing with someone, you're messaging with someone, and then you get GIFs like in the conversation that are meant to represent like I guess a topic of conversation, but they don't really. It's very like
yes,
I
know exactly what you're talking about because I feel like this happens a lot with dating apps. I feel like, because I think dating apps these days have this option where you can send GIFs, and I've seen messages where, like, you know, guys or girls have messaged the other person, and all they've received are GIFs, and you don't know how to respond to that, you know?
Well, then I have news for you, because then I have had the opposite experience and never experienced that on a dating app. But in real life, you know what I mean?
Real life, Brenton.
Yeah,
dating
real
apps,
life.
not that fictitious setting. We're talking about the real world. Like,
okay, well, can we call like Tinder real life? I don't know.
No, I don't know what we could call Tinder, frankly.
Where is this prologue going?
I don't know.
I really regret bringing up.
One of my favorite GIFs that I think has elevated. You know, there are GIFs that are just normal. Then you get stuff like Gandalf, who was like probably one of the most famous GIFs of him like nodding to that, you know, European dance pop song, like.
Yeah, I remember that. That was like before they were even called GIFs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That was just like a YouTube video that just went viral for ages. Like, yeah, I have an issue with people who, you know, when it comes to communication, who don't use words. So do I. So even like people who use like, I'm fine with the odd emoji, but like excessive emojis, like people who solely, you know, there's like some marketing departments who think like, oh, let's be young, let's be hip, and let's try and connect with the youth. And they just like, and they have like these marketing campaigns where they just have emojis solely as the mode of communication.
Yeah, totally. It's just a real turn off, and not even like a attraction. So it's just like even if you were to send me a bunch of GIFs and we were to converse in GIFs, it's just nothing's really being achieved.
No, it's just they don't do diplomacy like this. Why should we have talk like this?
But it just basically becomes like, you know, a competition of who has the better, I guess, knowledge of pop culture.
Who knows
or
pop
whatever.
culture? But just like random person who has no idea what the hell's being said. Like that's why I think maybe GIFs need to permeate pop culture. You know how there was the Emoji movie? You know, these emojis inhibited this story in this critically acclaimed biopic. Well, imagine if they did that, but with GIFs.
No, I don't want to imagine it.
What would they do, Brenton?
Could you imagine if you went to like a museum, they had like a kind of an installation where you went into like a room and there was a projector and it was just playing like fucking 500 GIFs, like one after the other, like on
and you're just like, it's like that scene from A Clockwork Orange where he's got like the eyes like peeled open and he's just like, the horror!
Exactly. And then like, you know, and then you leave the room a different person and then you just walk up to people on the street and you just describe a GIF and, you know, and then they describe one back to you and then you go about your day. Like, it's just... I don't know. Welcome to Classic
Speaking
Movie
of horror.
Episode number 50.
Woo! Yeah! 50. Pop 50, motherfucker! Woo!
Pop the champers.
Yeah!
Get down, you know, and boogie. And you know, do whatever you need to do to celebrate because this is a milestone.
It is a milestone, Brenton. I'm so excited. What a time to be alive, Brenton. We cracked the 50. We've done it.
We did it.
Yeah.
We cracked that egg, you know what I mean?
We did.
It's cracked.
Like, we ain't no uncracking that egg, tell you what, buddy.
It's not going back in the carton. It's staying out. And we're probably going to poach it, to be honest, because screw frying, maybe scramble it, but you can't just scramble one egg.
You know what the secret is, Brenton, to poaching eggs?
What?
It's white vinegar. That's how you do it.
No. I knew that, yes.
Vinegar. You know, I learned this lesson like only like very recently.
Oh dear, you've been making bad poached eggs then, my friend.
I've been doing really because they're either like I feel like with poached eggs especially you either get them too hard, so they're like a fucking rock, like they're just so boiled by that point, or you like barely cook them to the point where you're just having raw egg. Like you need to hit that sweet middle spot. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I know this should have been the prologue. How to cook poached egg.
You know what we need, Brenton? We need GIFs of poached eggs. That's what we need right now.
Let's start again. No.
But hey, what a time to join the podcast. If you're new, welcome to Classic Movie Banter. This is a podcast where we talk about...
if you're new, you've probably moved on to another podcast. Like, to be honest. Here. Like, yeah. But no, thank you. Thank you for sticking
if you're sticking around, this is a podcast where we don't talk about GIFs and eggs. We actually talk about old movies older than 20 years. I'm Nathan, and you're with Brenton over here. And both of
emphasis on the weird.
Both of us are just here to talk about old movies, and you know what? We've talked about a bunch of them. We've talked. If you scroll down your bloody iTunes feed or your SoundCloud feed or your YouTube feed, you'll see we've talked about such classics as The Exorcist, Cats, Silence of the Lamb, Emerald City, Animal House, The Land Before Time. Just a whole bunch of classics, Brenton.
Ugh. Classic after classic after classic.
You know, some of them we've loved, some of them we've hated, some of them we have struggled to fill an hour podcast with. But yet here we are, Brenton.
We're here. We stand defiant. And given that this is a celebration, we've reached the 50 milestone. It's time for a milestone. We've suddenly been struck with
cardiac arrest, and you know, I'm on life support at the moment, so Brenton's just holding my hand, just trying to get me through this app.
Yeah. That's why I'm a bit, you know, I'm trying to, you know, keep us on track. You know, because you know we need to savor every moment over here.
We do.
So for our milestone episodes, if you're a new listener, what we like to do is here, we picked a certain franchise that we thought that each time we reached a different milestone, we'd review another film from that franchise because there's many films in this one. So
yes,
episode 50 means that we're back again, and we're back again to talk about Rocky IV.
Woo! That's our favorite franchise. Now, you know, you and I, Brenton, we've had some jolly good times on this podcast with Rocky. You know, we were surprised by the first, we were surprised by the second, but we were the most surprised by the third.
Yes. I think, look, there's a growing trend with these, that like, as it progresses, the more and more that, like, you know, you think as you like grow in life that, like, you know, not that much surprises you. No. That is like the opposite effect the Rockies films have on your conscience. They get in there and they do things to your brain that haven't been done before.
Oh no, they don't by all means. And oh boy, there's another famous fourth installment of a franchise out at the moment, and we're not going to be talking about that one, that end game that's currently making every piece of money it can. We thought we'd turn our attention to the fourth installment of the Rocky franchise, which,
yes,
we love this franchise. We've followed it all the way through, and we're very proud to talk about Rocky 4 today. And we also, what? Since it's our 50th episode, we went to the trouble of making sure we were both sitting on the same couch and watching this bloody movie together. And we had a damn good glass of red wine, didn't we, Brenton?
We did. We had more than a glass, Ned.
Oh, I got drunk. The worst thing is, because you had a flight to catch early the next morning. I went to the Argyle in Sydney and I was just having I was just not in a good place. And the next morning, you're just posting photos of you doing a little trip to Adelaide, and I'm just like, Brenton, I'm dead.
Rip, Nathan.
Rip me.
So yeah, speaking of rip, let's rip this Band-Aid off and get into this episode, man. Let's
Brenton,
do it.
Can you pitch me Rocky 4?
Okay, so how there's been Rocky 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Well, now Rocky's reached his fourth film in his franchise, and I'll tell you what's happening.
I'm picturing Sylvester Stallone, just counting with his fingers like a little toddler, 4.
So I'll tell you what's happening. Rocky and Apollo Creed are enjoying their newfound friendship. After the events of Rocky 3, and the film picks up following those events and Rocky's victory, and then there's a little sparring match that Rocky and Apollo have that we never find the outcome to. Things look rosy, Rocky's back in his mansion, he's making questionable purchases, and
oh boy, isn't he?
when suddenly, out of nowhere, or should I say, out of Russia.
Out of Soviet Russia.
Out of Soviet Russia comes Drago, a Russian fighter who is the perfect human specimen, or the perfect human boxer. And he's come to America to stake his claim against the heavyweights, in particular, Rocky Balboa, the Italian stallion, who he claims that he can crush. And so, instead of Rocky probably, responding to that challenge, instead Apollo Creed decides he wants to. And,
doesn't he? He steps up, best friend Apollo Creed.
So Rocky, being Apollo's best friend and seeing his desperation to relive his glory days and to kick this Rusky in the balls,
oh my goodness.
he decides to train up Apollo for the big fight. And so the tables have turned, and the apprentice has become the master, and that is Rocky. And that is Rocky 4. That's all I'll say.
Oh my goodness, Brenton, well done. You've hooked this movie. You've as a producer, I'm like, you know what? After these 3 critically acclaimed Rockies, of course, the natural direction to take this franchise is, of course, to address the Cold War, this deeply, socio-political theme of East versus West, of man versus machine.
Yes.
of Rocky running upstairs versus Rocky running up snow. Yes, all that.
Brenton,
you and I, when we watched this movie, I don't think we've had so much interaction with the film in a very, very long time, if that makes sense.
No, and I can't say it was all positive necessarily, but it was there that, we were very responsive. We were very vocal, too.
We were very vocal. Brenton, what the fuck is this movie?
Look, I am still grasping at straws trying to work out what I witnessed on that day.
What is this? What is this movie? I've never been so confused in my life.
You know how there's those things called, like the logic pill?
Yes.
Take a packet of those and just throw them out your window. Just peg them out there and just leave them there, because that is what this film does. And you really just have to jump on board and go along with whatever the fuck it throws at you.
This is the most illiterate piece of art that I think I have ever looked at. And I've watched a David Lynch film, and this shit is still more weirder than that.
But at the same time, it's it's entertaining as shit. You know what I mean?
Like, it is very entertaining. I think because this is the fourth installment of a franchise that you and I have, loved for the most part. And we followed these characters more than any other on this podcast. And so we've now built this bias into these characters.
Yeah. And like, look, there's some big things that happen to certain characters in this franchise, and there's big steps taken, but at the same time, it's probably out of all the Rocky films we've watched so far, in terms of emotional depth, it's probably the weakest.
I don't know what Sylvester Stallone was thinking, because the first three have such a serious tone. They're really important. Like Rocky has to build himself out of poverty in the first one. Second one, he got a revenge against Apollo Creed to keep his honor. 3, he has to take down Ice-T because he bloody killed his mentor. Oh, by the way, spoilers for the first 3 Rockies in this podcast. And so all of them have been such like a serious tone. The stakes are so high. And you would think with the premise of Rocky embodying America beating up Soviet Russia, that alone would be so serious. But the movie just comes across as so camp.
It does. I think that the stakes should be high in this film, and they kind of are. Yeah. But I mean, like, in terms of, like, there's some big beats again that happen in this, but in terms of emotional development, say, between Adrian and Rocky, like, this is the first film where not much has really happened.
No, Adrian really took a backseat in this one, didn't she?
Yeah, like, but even not only that, relationships, just, like, relationships with all the characters in general, there's nothing that really happens that challenges those relationships necessarily, or, it becomes about the bigger picture. There's a certain shift that's happened in this film from the other ones. Yeah.
I feel like this film is what Thor Ragnarok was to Thor the Dark World. Like, it has this huge jarring shift of tone, and it's trying to be so comedic, and for better or for worse, it does achieve that.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare, like, Rocky 1, 2, and 3 to Thor the Dark World, but sure, yeah, I get your point.
In the sense of like that tonal shift from very serious to very like this is next level ludicrous. Like
it is next level. It is.
Yeah, it's we did have fun. We had a lot of fun watching this because there's so much stupidity in this film, and you and I love a good stupid movie. But like, where I think this movie really fails that the first 3 don't do is that they just don't take Rocky as a boxer seriously. Like, he has... No. There's a moment that happens early on in the film that kind of gives Rocky something to fight for, and he really has something to fight for. But once this thing happens that gives him this motive, he almost completely neglects it just to have these kind of fun antics with Russia. And it's kind of this, I'm America and you're Russia. It's kind of like really playing off the riffs of the Cold War. And he also neglects, like, all the side characters from it.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the thing is as well, like, this is probably... And it's not his fault. Like, he's still giving me a consistent performance, Stallone. But this is the film that's felt like the least like a Rocky. You know what I mean? That character has felt it's not consistent with the other films, and it's again like his performance is consistent, but it's just the actions of this character and like the scenes you expect to happen, like deeply, like intense, dramatic scenes between these characters just don't really occur.
No, there is a great the only real scene that feels like original recipe Rocky in this movie is a scene where Rocky, is contemplating whether to fight this Russian antagonist, Drago.
Is this the scene in the stairwell?
Yes. Yeah, with Adrian, and it echoes like the previous scene. Given that his trainer from the previous films is no longer there, she kind of fills in that role a little bit. And she's like, "Rocky, you can't win the fight," and he's like, "I'm a boxer, I always win the fight." It's like, "How do you think we got to Rocky 4? We did Rocky 1, 2, 3, bitch." And then she's like, "No, Rocky, you'll die from this guy." And even though I'm selling it badly, it's a really beautiful tense scene. The lighting is gorgeous, and I feel like for one brief moment we're back in original Rocky.
Yeah.
But then the next scene, like he's just running about on a boxing ring dancing with James Brown, and you're just like, what's going on?
I was about to spoil something in the movie that in the next scene this happens, and it's totally like jarring and whatever, but I can't say that until the spoiler section.
No. There's a couple things you should know going into this movie. One, it is far too 80s for my taste, Brenton. And Rocky 3 was set in the 80s, and it had Eye of the Tiger, and I love that level of 80s, but this one's just... It's a little bit much, isn't it?
Oh, I don't mind too much 80s. Like, I enjoy it.
Does the Cold War thing hold up?
No.
It's just, it's so outdated. And also it's so indulgent. Like, Rocky is the man to end the Cold War. Like, I don't know. Like, even when you watched Bond, like, with the bloody, like, last week with Spy Who Loved Me, like, even that was, like, dramatically less Cold War than this film. And that was literally set with spies in the Cold War.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does this film, Brenton, does this film make you want to go to Russia, considering it is set in Russia for a part of it?
I mean, it's a beautiful landscape. Let's just say that. Like,
it is. It is, but I feel like there is a little bit of bias where, you know, in America, it's this kind of like beautiful kind of, you know, Rocky's mansion is all green and luscious, and then the hard cuts to Russia, and it's like deep Soviet Russia, and it's like snow, and there's like a Russian choir singing.
Like,
it's like,
there's undoubtedly there's a bias. Like, this is an American film. It's very patriotic.
It's like borderline propaganda.
Yeah, exactly, totally. So yeah, I agree with that point totally.
Yeah. It fails at a lot of things. It doesn't have the bloody iconic Rocky theme. It doesn't have the Rocky big text at the start of it. The Rocky logo is very small. I didn't like that, Brenton.
You didn't? Wasn't there a big logo? I thought.
No, you know, every Rocky film starts with that dot, and the thing goes across. Didn't happen in this one. It's just a little tiny Rocky 4.
I mean, I'm so used to it. I just assumed it was there.
No, they replaced it with a bloody Soviet and American glove punching each other.
That's right.
Which is the best way to announce this film.
Exactly. Like, at least it's honest with itself.
Yeah. Another thing, Brenton, going into this movie, we've had iconic villains in the Rocky franchise.
I was about to bring up this as well. I think this is the weakest villain we've had, and that's saying something. Like, to be honest, like, when you consider like Ice-T in the last film, who was just a bit of a hot-headed freak, but.
Whatever happened to Ice-T? Because he's not in this one. So, like,
what's unfortunate with this is that, like, you know,
the first film in prison because they finally got him for murder.
Probably. What's sad about this though is that there's such potential, like, I think, with all these villains, let's say, because Apollo Creed, the way they treated that character in those, you know, throughout this franchise has been incredible. It's a human being. It's someone that is a real person and makes choices and is, you know, a formidable opponent. Drago in this film just feels, which may be the point, but he's just a big meathead robot that's just there to
and that's saying
stuff.
Something with a film with a literal robot in it. Like, this guy comes across, it's like he's like Captain America but Russian, but also if Captain America had his larynx like ripped out of his throat and and he had the brain of the Hulk. Like
yeah, and like, to be honest, it feels like the antagonists in this film are more so the Drago's wife and also his trainer or his promoter or whoever that other character is as well.
Have you seen Killing Eve, Brenton?
I haven't.
Oh, in Killing Eve, there's like a Russian guy. The point of Killing Eve is that there's this young girl who's an assassin who kills people across Europe, and her mentor is this like Russian kind of gangster guy, and the guy who's running Drago in the boxing ring reminds me so much of him from Killing Eve.
Right.
And he's just this guy who's just like we were Russian medical with Russian technology. And
that's the other thing, isn't it? It's like, in terms of like their goals, it's literally just they're doing this to put America in its place, and, you know, it's the Cold War.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like personally that you can attach yourself to specifically with Drago that, you know, makes him you know, they attempt
I didn't hate him, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's nothing in it for him. He's just like a random soldier who's just doing a job he's been hired to do.
When you should hate him given some of the events that happen in this film.
100%. Yeah, you should. And even after he does some really shitty things, I didn't hate the character because no, he's just doing what he naturally does. Like, he's not being, you know, ferocious or anything like that. He's just doing his job.
Yeah.
Also, what did you think of the fight in this movie? Because every Rocky movie is known for its big fight at the end. How does this one hold up compared to the others?
It wasn't very memorable.
No, it was also way too long in my opinion.
Yeah. It was very long. Probably the longest fight I think we've had.
I think it has, yeah. It's like bloody the long night long, you know what I mean? Like
I know exactly what you mean. Goodness.
Oh, look at that up-to-date reference we've got on the podcast. But yeah, no, it just I don't know. None of this movie really stood out. That's a weird thing. The only parts that stood out in this movie is either spoilery stuff that's too stupid for us to mention or too spoilery for us to mention. Or like the Soviet theme, which again, I don't know why they did this with this franchise, you know? I like the surprise of it, but it just doesn't sit well.
Nathan, All that being said, are you ready to rate the film?
I am.
I am too.
Oh, Brenton, this is our 50th episode, you know? I put on my tux. I've got a bloody crochet. I've got that glove. No, what's that flower you give to the girls at bloody formals? I've got that thingy. Like...
Sure, yep.
Yep, I've got... I've got my good shoes on, Brenton. I all dressed up for this, and here we are, Rocky 4. I'm standing at the boxing ring side, and what's happened? Rocky's just been hit against the wall, and he's bleeding out, and I'm like, great, so much for the 10K I put on this guy.
So you liked it so much, you're going to give it a thumbs up?
Look, if you're not in this, if you're not invested in this franchise, this is your first Rocky film, you won't like it. I feel like if you do like the previous 3 Rocky films, like, you will get something out of this, but I don't think empirically outside that it's a good movie. But what do you think?
Well, is that a vote down?
I don't know. I want to hear what you think. I want to see if you can sway me in either direction.
Well, I know what I'm saying. I agree with you totally. I think that if I'd watched this film without watching the first 3 films, I would have hated this movie. I would have torn it to shreds and said, what a despicable act of heresy, basically.
How dare you? This is crimes against Russia. and it is short. I'll give it that. It is an hour and a half.
Nathan,
yeah.
All that being said, I have watched the first 3 films, and I had the greatest time watching this piece of
you
trash.
And I, we had so much fun watching it.
Had so much fun, and it removing myself from the context that we were sitting there with a bottle of wine, it was me and you having a great old time.
Just shaking our heads, wondering what the fuck we were watching.
If this was me watching this by myself, having watched the first 3 films, I still would have had a good time. I know it would have had a great time.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So, that being said, I'm actually going to give it a thumbs up. With the premise that if you've seen the first 3 films, you're going to have a laugh and a half. If you haven't, you're going to... I need a rhyme. You're going to hate this.
You're going to want to throw at the stage a dead calf.
That'll do.
That'll do. Yeah, the lamb for slaughter in Rocky 4.
They're my final thoughts. Nathan.
I don't know. I agree with you so much. I had so much fun with this movie. If you've seen the first 3, you will get a lot out of this because of how fucking stupid this is. And there's a lot of dumb shit that happens in Rocky 3, and I didn't think we'd get any dumber than Rocky 3, yet here we are.
But we do.
Which makes me gravely concerned what the hell we're going to get for Rocky 5. If this is the direction the franchise is in, dear God, I know what the hell we're doing for episode 100. I'm shaking my head. And we got a lot of fun out of this, so do you watch this? This is... You know what? How the hell can you give Rocky 1 a thumbs down, but Rocky 4 a thumbs up, is what I ask you, Brenton.
Don't ask the question. Just know that that's how I was feeling, man.
All right. Well, to counteract what Brenton has done there, I am giving it a thumbs down. I had I know, and it hurts me to say it because I love this franchise.
No, I'm not surprised. I think there's merit in that choice. I think it's probably the right decision.
It's a shitty film, but I love it to death. I love it so much. So I'm thumbsing it down. Sorry, Rocky 4.
Well, now that we've got that out of the way, we can finally get on to spoilers. Nothing but spoilers. Spoiling Rocky 4 and that weird...
In Soviet Russia, boxer will fight you.
I'm ripping the Band-Aid off, dude. Let's talk about that robot. Let's get into it.
Oh my God, this fucking robot. Oh, and I'm glad we didn't mention it non-spoilers, because the best thing about this robot is the surprise of the robot.
We're not talking about Drago. We're talking about this robot that Rocky buys for...
Paulie,
yeah.
What the hell... because when this happened, because you see Rocky, he's living the good life. He's still in his mansion, and he's living a good time. And out of nowhere comes this it's... How would you describe this robot, Brenton?
It's difficult to describe because the technology I don't think existed at the time to be able to create this robot. Let's just call it Norbert the robot. So
I forget what they even call it.
Norbert in this film is kind of He looks like he's got he's got kind of like a binoculars for a head, kind of got 2 arms on a spindly, sticky kind of thing, and then is rolling around on something that we never see, like a Roomba.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is bought, for Paulie for whatever reason. I guess as a companion, given that Paulie's such a piece of shit human being that he can't make any other friends apart from his sister and his brother-in-law.
What is Paulie's arc in these films? I swear he just gets weirder and weirder every film.
I don't know. But in this film, he takes this robot, gets it to do random shit around the house, and then all of a sudden...
It's got this weird, sexy voice as well.
He changes its voice programming so that's got this weird female sexy voice.
Yeah, it's like if Iron Man fell in love with Friday.
Exactly. It's bizarre. And it's there at every single moment. It's there in the climactic scene when his son is watching him fight from home and the robot's in the background just there.
And it's dressed in Christmas gear.
Rocky is there's that great scene that we spoke about with Adrian Rocky in the stairwell. Rocky's leaving the house and the robot's just there out the front chilling as well in this big moment.
It's just so out of place. I know
it's bizarre.
It's in this movie. Narratively, it just doesn't belong. It adds nothing to the story. It just gives Paulie something to do. And because I think Rocky gets it for his birthday, whatever it is, and it brings out it just cleans around the house and just I just don't know. I'm so confused by it, Brenton.
It's bizarre, but it's hilarious at the same time, and it's tenny. You just want to know. Great films when you want to know what happens next. I was wondering what that robot was going to do next.
Because it just keeps rocking up the weirdest of points. I was half expecting Rocky in the end just to suddenly be on the ground and he was about to lose the battle. Then out of the crowd emerges the robot and just suddenly switches to battle mode and just fucking pounces on Drago and just goes full love death robots on its ass.
Speaking of Drago, let's talk about the big event that happens in this film.
I cannot believe because we were watching this together and and this fight happens with Apollo Creed and I turned to you and I'm like, are they gonna kill Apollo in this movie? And I remember drinking my red wine and I'm like, if they kill Apollo Creed in this movie, I riot. And Brenton, what did they do?
Spoiler alert, they killed Apollo Creed. Well, Drago killed Apollo Creed.
Oh my god. I did that thing where I put my hand over my mouth in horror. Like I was watching a Game of Thrones episode and we were both just in pure shock that they killed this character.
My favorite character in this franchise, who I think is just wonderful, passed away. And it was awful to watch. It was brutal to watch. And it was sad to watch. But I don't want to dwell on that too much because obviously that happens and there's a funeral scene and whatnot, and then that is the impetus for Rocky.
How does this funeral scene in this one hold up compared to the funeral scene in Happy Gilmore? Adam Sandler just sidles past with a little wooden hand.
Hey, and he shakes it. Hey, I gotta give it to Happy Gilmore, to be honest. I think the Happy Gilmore funeral shits on the Rocky IV funeral.
And doesn't that say something? Because that is not a good funeral.
Something, yeah. But my point is that this is the event that is meant to be the instigating event that causes Rocky to want to fight Drago. And I think there was something really interesting that could have happened in this film that it didn't do, unfortunately, for it to be, like I said, for it to unlock that deeper emotional resonance. And that is that there's a sense of guilt that Rocky should be feeling, and I wonder if the future films are going to go into this, specifically with Creed, in that Rocky had the opportunity to stop the fight.
He did. He could have stepped in and he could have been like, no, Creed. Because he initially, asks Rocky to do the fight. Rocky's like, no, I can't do it. So, he must be feeling horseshit. And you see that through the rest of the film. But, it doesn't really carry across so much because the film just keep haphazardly jumps about with all of it.
That's right. I wanted to get more into that. And unfortunately, we just didn't for whatever reason. It was really, really unfortunate and a missed opportunity. And a bit of a disservice to the character of Creed, to be honest.
Also, it's introduced so silly as well. I love it when the platform starts to rise and you see Drago just looking around really confused. I feel like he just wasn't told how the ring was going to happen, so he's just like, "What the fuck?" It's like the Maze Runner. He just gets elevated into the maze. He's like, "Holy shit, what the fuck am I?"
Yeah.
And James Brown is doing a performance.
Exactly. That whole opening to that fight was just bizarre and awesome and hilarious and confusing and entertaining. So,
It was pretty entertaining, yeah. Brenton, can we talk about the training montage in this movie? Because that's
exactly what I was going to get onto.
We're in sync with this. We're just episode 50. We're on point.
In regards to the montage, I actually want to bring up the montages because there is two montages in this film. One is when Rocky is driving away to meet his destiny, so to speak. and this song plays. This song plays, and we get this weird montage of past events from this film and the previous 3 films that don't really have
that's a really weird moment, isn't it?
It doesn't really have many connecting threads. You think it's about Apollo, then you think it's about Apollo going into Drago, but then we go back to like Mickey, and we go back to, you know, Paulie's escapades, and we go back to Adrian as well. It's like trying to encompass all 4 of these films, but this event in this film like doesn't really feel like the final Rocky event. You know what I mean? It just feels like another Rocky film. So I'm trying to work out whether this was just there to pad out screen time, because that's what it seems to me, or what the point was.
I completely agree. I think it was there so we could see the friendship he built over the previous 3 installments, but I feel like we didn't need to see footage of it. Like, imagine if, like, I'm trying to think of another example. Imagine if, like, in Avengers or something like that, we had one of the original Avengers leave at the end of the film, and as they're about to go, we had this, like, weird montage of all the previous films, you know, them just being like, it's very, like, Days of Our Lives, you know?
Yeah, totally.
It's just so out of place for a Rocky film. And also, like, with the montage that he finally does in Soviet Russia, like, he flies to this like, cabin in the middle of the, like, Siberia, which is in itself hilarious. Because there's this whole thing where, like, Russia's got the latest technology, and we use Russian technology to crush American science. But then Rocky's like, no, you know what you need? You need to just, like, run in, like, the snow and, like, lift a barnyard just to, like, be ready to defeat Drago. And I found the montage weird because you don't get that iconic Rocky theme, but also it's this weird 80s track, but also there's a point where Rocky's just running around this like empty Siberian snow desert, but then it cuts to him on the top of a mountain.
Yes.
And the camera pans, and he's not like on this like little mountain close to the hut. He's like in the middle of this like Himalayas kind of like
I know.
The scene, like, what? And he's just in this like little snow gear, and I'm like, how?
Nathan, don't question how Rocky does the things he does. That man is a living legend, okay? Don't. I know. Just go along with it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's just, yeah, it's probably the weakest of the montages we've had, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. 100%. No, I agree. Like, I think the montage instead should have just been him in America, since that was the theme they were going for, and just have him going around Philadelphia again. But this time, you know, go back to his basics, go back to bare bones, go to the original gym that he was at, not just like go to Russia and be like. Also, he could have done that in America. He could have just gone to like Colorado in winter and done the exact same thing.
Like, I think there's something interesting in the fact that he goes to train in Russia, but again, it's not really. It doesn't really justify its place in the film, unfortunately. So, yeah.
No, it doesn't. What is this film's position on Russia as well? Because it's trying to, like, I feel like it's trying to be balanced, because it's saying, no, Russia's got this straight technology, and, you know, we got all these, like, this super soldier of a man as this boxer. But at the same time, it's just like, when he finally defeats Drago, he's just like giving a speech to the Russians on how if they love Rocky, they can love America. And I'm like,
it's bizarre.
I don't know what he's trying to say about Russia, like Stallone, you know?
I don't know what he is either, but it's this weird speech he does at the end of the film, and they all kind of stand up and give him a standing O, and it's like, wow.
It's like, really, you hated this man like 10 seconds ago.
That was unexpected, but okay. So yeah. There's a lot of mixed things in this film. There's a lot of crazy stuff, but overall, like, again, like, it's still entertaining. It's still a fun time.
It is still very entertaining. I love the scene where Adrian brings out the birthday cake.
Yes.
And it's a great cake, and I'm like, there's a lot of cake in this movie.
There is.
Yeah. I love it when Drago says the line. So Drago does speak limited English, and I was wondering if he spoke any English at all during this film, because for a lot of the film I just thought he was very confused. Like, they found this like random like Russian farm boy, put him in some like boxing shorts, and he spoke no English, and he was just looking around very confused, punching the first thing he could see. But then like he finally reveals he speaks English, and the best line of this movie is when he says, "I must break you."
Yes.
And it's amazing, and I'm like, I'm so in for this movie.
So yeah, that's the spoiler section, which was a bit of a weird section, to be honest. Like, in terms of,
and you know, cover. I want to continue along this path, Brenton, and I want to talk about some more things in this movie via some new segments.
Sure, dude. Take us away.
One moment that you and I lost our shit on, probably most in this movie, was the fact that this is the first Rocky film where he has a full, proper beard.
We see the many stages of this beard.
Oh my goodness.
We see it from its conception through to its adolescence, through to its midlife crisis.
It's like they got Groot from the Marvel films and just like and did that with Rocky's beard.
So what is your question, Nathan?
Brenton, what is the best and what is the worst beard of Rocky? Let's start off with worst, because I feel like that's very obvious.
What would you say is the worst beard, Nathan?
There's a point where, like, he's maybe, like, 2 weeks of growth in, and he's got, like, this... And it's so funny, because I think it's, like, at the same point, like, he's like, in this really dramatic scene, and he's trying to be all serious. I think it's when he's, like, throwing chat at the Russians, like, and he's, like, trying to egg on the Russian ambassador, and he's like, oh, we'll drop the nukes, and they're like, we'll drop the nukes. And then Bonds are like, "I'll stop the nukes." But he's got like this like little, it's maybe like 3 centimeters of stubble on his face, and it looks like atrocious. It's so bad.
Yes, I agree. There was a point that it was looking a bit hillbilly. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't good. Yeah.
And it happened before the best beard, and you and I kept looking at each other, going, "Oh, maybe we should just shave again." But then later on in the film, potentially the best beard in cinema. Grace.
Well, this is the thing. So I don't know where the best beard is. Is the best beard the stubble? Like, is it the kind of
when he's like perfectly shaven? He's got this like cool like.
No, not shave, like clean shaven.
Oh, like the rough patches, you mean?
Yeah, he's got like a kind of stubbly thing going on. Like it's quite light.
He's got a very chiseled face, that's Stallone, so yeah, it suits him well.
Or is it the big fella? You know what I mean?
Mate, it's the big beard. It's not even a question.
For you, it's the big one.
Big beard, no, because he's like going around Soviet Russia. He looks like a fucking like Vladimir Putin calendar, and he's just walking through the snow, and he's just got this big ass like brown beard. Okay. And he looks so badass. He looks like a Dan Blazarian, but like a Russian Dan Blazarian, you know?
You've convinced me, Nathan. I'll have to agree with you. Can I add another section in then?
Oh, of course. Go for it, mate.
Can we add it in the beard that we wish we had, but we never got? Imagine just that huge beard, but just imagine that on Apollo Creed.
Oh my god. I'm surprised he didn't have a beard like that, you know? Like
he has the mo going, but you know, imagine him with the full chops and goatee as well. Just, you know, oof.
Oh, that would look so... Oh, could you imagine Drago with a beard?
No, I don't want to, ever.
He's so clean-shaven. That man does not have a single hair on his head besides the little, like, shaven top bit, which is one of the worst haircuts I think I've seen, and that's saying something. Oh, it's not Don Cheadle bad, but it's still pretty bad.
That's awkward, because I just got it today, so...
Oh, I didn't want to mention the podcast, Brenton, but here we are. God. I mean, God, you could balance China on that thing. Goodness, like, it's bad. But, you know, I would have loved to... Even, like, Drago's wife would have been quite funny.
Yes.
Oh, that would have been great. I love her so much. I think actually, you know what? One iconic moment of the movie that you and I turned to each other. We almost stopped the movie when this happened. Rocky, there's a point where he's in Russia and he's wearing this amazing jacket. Brenton, can you walk me through this?
I don't know what there's to walk through. It's the most majestic thing I've ever seen. He hops out of the car in Russia and he's wearing this amazing leather jacket that has got like this fur kind of lining on it at the same time. And it's got this huge collar that just folds out like over his shoulders. And then it's got cuffs on it as well. It's what you wear when you want to become a man. You wear this jacket. Like, it is.
If you Google just like Rocky IV jacket, he's just got this like amazing beard. He looks like he's like gotten off a motorbike in like 1920s New York, and he looks like he's just gotten out of like a World War II plane, and he just looks so dope in it. And so, Brenton, I want us to find this Rocky IV bomber jacket. Okay, so I've got Google open here with me, buddy, and I want to see, are you willing to purchase a Rocky IV jacket?
I mean, at this stage, yes, I am.
Because I think it would suit you very well, Brenton. I think it'd match. I think you own a very similar jacket already, but I feel like
I don't. But I don't have like
you have a brown leather jacket, don't you?
Yeah, but I want, and you know what? I want one of these fur ones. I want one of these
the fake fur one kind of fur.
So I want the collar, dude. Like, it looks good. It looks so clean.
Cool. Okay, there's one on Amazon. This looks pretty legit. It looks exactly like the right one. Okay, buy on Amazon. How much is this thing going to cost? It's loading. Okay. Okay, so this one's listed as for $260 on Amazon. I think it comes in the one size, which is kind of funny because this is just... oh no, it just says like Rocky and then not Rocky. Like, but it actually comes in all sorts of sizes. That's so funny. It doesn't say Rocky on the Amazon website. It just says Men B3 Bomber Aviator Shirling's Sheepskin Leather Winter Jacket, which I feel like there's customer reviews, Brenton. This is pretty exciting. Do you want to hear some of these customer reviews?
I would love to hear some of these reviews. Pass it to the people, Nathan.
Oh my god. Okay, this is from Hector C. He says, crazy, and he got the XX large one. Gave it 5 stars. And he wrote, oh my god, and he posted photos of him with it. This is amazing. Are you on the Amazon website?
I'm not at the moment.
Oh my god. Okay, listeners, please go on the Amazon website for this. Type in Rocky 4 jacket, go to the Amazon link, and just look at the reviews for this Rocky 4 jacket. Because the first one's Hector C, and he wrote, crazy happy with the purchase. This jacket is crazy awesome. I get many compliments. I wear suits and ties all day, and this just adds to an awesome look. If others have been defective, it is quite possible. For me, this coat is freaking awesome. This is amazing. And he's just got these selfies of him like around like his local city just in this jacket. Oh, it's pretty great.
And does it look good on him? That's the question.
It does look pretty good on him. You know, he's quite a sharp bloke in it. What else have they said? So far, none of them have mentioned Rocky 4. There's got to be at least one in here that does. Okay, and listen to this one, Brenton. Okay, this is from Gareth Elkins. He gave it 5 stars, and he wrote, I love how it kept me warm. My best friend died fighting in this big Russian guy in a boxing match. Let me tell you, when I was training for a fight against that machine, this jacket kept me warm. Those Russian winters, they're colder than a woman's heart. Ha ha. My wife Adrian recommends it too.
That's so funny.
I really like to think that Rocky takes place in the real world, and he went to the trouble of writing about this on Amazon.
I'm looking at these photos now. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, there's apparently a link to eBay as well. I think you might be able to get one cheaper there, dude, if you want to buy it. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, this one's $165 on eBay. That's pretty good. Brenton, I want you to buy this for the podcast. I want you to rock up in one.
I think it'd be a. If I get one, I'm taking photos of this and we're sharing it.
Oh my goodness, so much.
Like we have to. Like, look at this thing.
You know, if you buy one, I'll buy one. How about that?
Okay, and we'll get
matching Rocky 4 jackets. And
should we get CMB logos on them?
Oh, yeah. Well, our logo currently is like a little leather.
That's
like
what I mean.
A patch on a leather jacket. We should get the bloody patch printed and put it on the thing.
Guys, you are literally listening to a classic movie banter meeting right now.
Oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, we are so doing this. This is amazing.
Well, until we buy our leather jackets and you know get our leather patches sewn on, what stills this movie, Nathan?
Well, you and I watching this together had many a moment where we thought we should pause the movie and go, this is the best shot in cinema. And we debated for a while, but we've chosen... Do you want to walk me through this one?
I wonder... Okay. What's shocking is that this one won for me. But as soon as we saw it, we knew this was the one.
We knew it. Oh.
But it's shocking because it had tough competition, but it blew it away, which it must be good. There is a scene before Rocky goes to Russia where he speaks to his son. And...
I love the child actor in this.
And this is possibly one of the worst... Sorry, kid, but this is one of the worst performances by a child actor I've ever seen. I really don't like children in theatre, film. I don't like them because I just don't think...
I don't even like them in real life.
I like kids in real life. I just don't think the kids in film and theatre or any medium is it's very rare.
Except
to
for
get
Haley
a solid
Joel
performance.
Osment in Bloody Silence of the Lambs.
No, he wasn't in Silence of the Lambs. He was in The Sixth Sense.
Oh, bloody hell, Sixth Sense, sorry, yeah.
But it's very rare to have a performance that actually feels like a real child and a real person and is convincing. Let alone, that's even before you get someone like Haley Joel Osment that's giving an incredible performance, nuanced performance, an emotional performance, a performance well beyond his years at the age he's doing. With stakes that are no child really should have to go through in terms of that character.
Or Lady Mormont from Game of Thrones.
Sure. She goes through some shit as well. Hey, you're all with the references today, Nathan.
I'm so on top of this. I'm so relevant.
This kid sucks. He's awful. He's he's absolutely shit. He was picked because they thought he kind of looked cute, but he couldn't even do that. AKA this still we've chosen. This is the funniest.
If you want to see this picture on our YouTube version of the podcast, you can see the photo that we put on it. Please have a look at it because it's so funny. What's he doing, Brenton?
he's trying to act is what it is. That's him trying to act. He's looking at Stallone. He's kind of shell-shocked. He doesn't know what's really going on around him. He's trying to remember his lines. He's trying to remember Stallone's lines, what he's saying to him. He's remembering there's a camera shoved in his face, and there's people all around him, and there's probably a boom mic just above his head as well. And he's trying to it's like they've said, just smile at your dad. But there's too much going on in this boy's head, and his face is broken in the process.
I like to think that maybe while Stallone's been away, he's just lived in this like Home Alone scenario with the robot, and like,
sure.
and like the robot's just been on like killer nanny mode in the interim, and so like, and then Rocky's like, okay, son, I'm gonna leave for like another month, and then this is the look the kid gives him in return.
Sure, let's go with that. It's hilarious,
but
terrifying at the same time.
I hope this child is in all the other Rocky sequels, and I hope he doesn't age. I hope even in Creed 2, he's still the same age.
Sure, I'm down with that. I'm down with that. So
how did they make this, Brenton?
How did they make this making movies, magic movies?
So Sylvester Stallone almost died when they made this movie.
Really? Gosh.
Yeah. So Sylvester Stallone tells a story where him and Dolph Lundgren, who plays Ivan Drago, when they first fight, the first portion of their fight he wanted to be authentic, so he actually had a real fight with Drago. So they threw real punches. He said, I want us to record the sound effects. I want this to be extremely authentic. I want us to, not pretend to have a fight after these previous two movies. So Dolph Lundgren's like, okay, you do know I am quite fit. But Sylvester Stallone like, please, you're talking to Rocky. So they have this fight, and like Dolph Lundgren kicks the shit out of Sylvester Stallone. And there's one point where he punches Stallone's chest, and it slammed his heart against his breastbone, causing his heart to swell. So Stallone suffered from labored breathing and blood pressure over 200, and he was flown from set in Canada to Santa Monica, where he was put in intensive care for 8 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So that's he got out okay, but this is a real thing that happened.
During filming, Dolph Lundgren and Carl Weathers really did not get along and got into an altercation.
What?
Lundgren threw Weathers into a corner of the boxing ring, and after that, Weathers shouted profanities at Lundgren while leaving the ring and announced that he was calling his agent and quitting the movie immediately. Only after Sylvester Stallone forced the two actors to reconcile did the movie continue. This event caused a 4-day work stoppage while Weathers was talked back into the part, and Lundgren agreed to tone down his aggressiveness.
Oh my god. Jeez. Do you reckon Sylvester Stallone brokered the peace when he said, dude, I've just been in hospital for 8 days. You can handle just being punched in the fucking face?
I think so.
I love it. The training equipment I want to talk about, because this film is so there's a whole point in this film where they're showing off the training equipment, and it's so outdated in this movie. It's like, it reminds me of Monsters Inc. when they're showing like the VR that like the monsters use to scare the kids. But anyway, the training equipment in this is actually, for all I mock at it, it's actually ahead of its time, and it was actually very groundbreaking at the time of high-tech sporting equipment. And what you see in this movie wasn't actually practically used for 20 years later in the public. And so Michael Phelps said that when he was training for the Olympics, he actually watched Rocky IV, and this inspired him to go to a cabin like Rocky did and practice there.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There's some positivity that came out of this film. That's incredible. Yeah. Early drafts of the script had Mr. T reprising his role as Clubber Lang.
Really? Oh, yep. What did he do?
I don't know. That's all I got.
Could you imagine like bloody Creed dies, and then suddenly like Mr. T just like steps into his place.
Yeah. Oh god, Nathan.
Oh god. Now the robot. Okay, you and I, we gave this robot shit, and I stand by it. It doesn't belong in this movie. It's so irrelevant. It's just, you're shaking your head at the old time. It does soften the blow a little bit when you work out why this robot was put there. Because do you know about this?
No.
So the reason this robot is in this film is because Sylvester Stallone has an autistic son,
right?
And this robot was actually given to him and his son as a way of helping his son through his autism. And so, and the robot built this amazing friendship and actually saved his son. It really, really helped him. And so Stallone, because he was grateful for this robot and the folks that put it together, he wanted to put it in the next Rocky movie to give it kind of this nod and this thank you for what it did for his son.
Right.
Yeah, because it was made by this company called International Robotics Incorporated, and the robot's initial voice was from that company's CEO. And this robot, Brenton, it's actually a current member of the Screen Actors Guild. I'm not making any of this shit up. And furthermore, it toured with James Brown in the 80s.
This robot just keeps getting better and better. Oh,
this
God.
Is just this. You can't make this shit up.
This robot's the best of us.
It really is. I hope humanity gets decimated and aliens find our post-apocalyptic planet, and all they find, instead of Wall-E, it's this fucking robot.
In the Italian dub of the movie, Ivan Drago's line, "I must break you," was translated as, in Italian, "I break you in two." And it became by far the most famous quote from the movie in Italy and entered everyday speech.
Really?
Yeah. That's break you
amazing.
in two. Yeah.
Do you know how to say that in Italian? Do you have it there with you?
Yeah. Dispiezio in due.
Dispiezio in due. We probably both butchered that.
But they say complete with a fake Russian accent.
Oh, right, of course. What is it? Inspirio
Dispiezio in due.
Dispiezio in due. Yes, Russia. We break you in half Italian. We break you into Papal State and Sicily. Watch. Oh, Russia. And you know what? To stand by that thumbs down I gave the movie, it won 5 Razzies, Brenton.
Wow. What did it win?
It won worst actor, worst director for both for Sylvester Stallone, worst supporting actress for Drago's wife, worst new star for Drago's wife, so she got 2, and then worst musical score. It was also nominated for worst picture, worst supporting actress for Adrian, and worst supporting actor for Burt Young.
Wow.
And worst screenplay.
Wow.
So yeah, I know. Owen Wilson would definitely say wow to this movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
The
last fact, actually. Well, wait. I just want to say one more fact, and that is that Stallone's original cut of this film was actually an hour longer. But in the editing room, they decided to cut it down even more, and they got rid of that hour. And now I think it's the shortest in the Rocky franchise. So there you go.
Thank God. I do love it as short. I must say that there's a plus.
So hey, as you were saying,
hey,
let's
look at this film's poster.
Oh, dude, what a travesty!
I know.
But
because Rocky's always had consistently great posters, you know.
Yeah, this is shit. Sorry,
it's so terrible. What's going on in this? I don't understand.
So, spoiler alert: this poster shows that Rocky's just won that fight, and he's been wrapped in the American flag as he is, as he is happily embracing his trainers, and yeah, that's about it. It's boring.
It's just him, and I don't understand the face he's making. He looks as though he's leaping or having a jump or something like that. Like he's just looks as though he's been punched in the face without someone actually punching him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good. Let's talk about how we can improve this. Let's be optimistic.
Yes. It should have just been the Christmas robot.
Sure. I'm down with that.
or maybe just even of Drago. You know what it should have been? It should have been of Drago with a communist Russia flag in the background or something like that. He's draped in it, and he's holding up the head of Rocky or something like that, decapitated.
Wow. That's full on, but it's better than this shit. So let's stick with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Nathan. Title talk. Was there Rocky 4 and Rocky 4?
Look, I love the theory when we had Rocky's son, and we realized there were 2 Rockies in Rocky 2, and Rocky 3 and 4 sadly have not given us any more Rockies in this movie. So, Rocky 4. I don't know. Do you like this franchise has numbers rather than subtitles?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think it works.
I do like the Roman numerals of it. I mean, there was Rocky in Rocky 4. He was definitely Rocky 4 beaten up. That's what he was. He was Rocky 4 Ivan Drago. Am I right? He got Rocky 4 the Russians.
Nathan. That's
enough of title talk.
It took us 50 episodes to get to that. Let's continue.
So let's pass it to the people.
Power to the people. Let's pass it to the people. The power. Alrighty, dude.
Rocky 4.
Look, this is wrong.
No,
Rocky
Brenton,
4.
this is right. This is don't even say this is wrong.
Rocky
this is very
4
right.
has a 40% rating on the tomato meter, making it a rotten film. And on top of that, by some miracle, it has a 79% audience score. Riddle me that. I'm going to go straight on to Zaki Hassan, who says, "It's a bad movie, no doubt, but at the same time, and somewhat paradoxically, it's also a great movie. Figure that one out." Zaki, that sums it up perfectly.
It's true, and we've tried to figure it out, and we're just stumped.
I'm still at odds, but those words summed it up perfectly.
It's very true. He should do a movie podcast.
By the way, going back to the rating though, this is not a 40% film,
mate. It should be lower, frankly.
It's maybe just under a 50% or just over a 50%. It's not that low,
mate. I don't care what the number is for this movie. I just want it to be better, frankly.
Brian Costello, gave it a rotten review and said, "Dated Cold War themed boxing sequel has violence."
I mean, that's what they really should have put in the poster, isn't it?
Yeah, truly.
Chuck O'Leary from thelvoodriven.com didn't like it. He said, "Predictable and corny. When the Soviet fans as well as the Soviet government officials stand up and cheer Rocky at the end, you can't help but roll your eyes in disbelief." Mate, you're on the money. You're so on the money. Oh, what an idiot.
Sean B gives this, not Sean Bean, well, maybe it's Sean Bean, I don't know.
Oh.
No, it's not, because...
Can you read it in a Sean Bean northern accent?
No, I can't. I'm not gonna butcher Sean Bean on this podcast, let me tell you. I'm not gonna... Sorry, Sean. 1.5 stars. Everything about this film is stupid.
It is stupid. It is so... I'm all for a little bit of stupidity in cinema, but nothing like this. This is just like...
It's ridiculous.
Oh,
it's absolutely ridiculous.
This is like that kid's look personified, am I right? Like,
exactly.
Cole W wrote 3.5 stars. Cheesy, over the top, and predictable, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't entertaining.
Exactly, Cole W. Thank you. Stephen R gives this film 5 stars. 5 stars, and says one of the 10 best movies ever made.
I feel like if you're like deeply patriotic, then maybe. But like, you know, like he's also a big fan of like Air Force One and like Independence Day and, you know, like all those kind of films. Like, oh, this is not one of the best 10 movies ever made. No, it just missed the cut of number 11, sadly.
There's another 5-star review here that claims it's a great Cold War movie.
I think Bridge of Spies is a great Cold War movie. I don't think this is a great Cold War movie. This also doesn't say anything about the Cold War.
No. It's just the backdrop, and it never really does anything with it. And it tries. Nathan, it tries to tragically. It tries to with that last speech.
You just want to pat it on its head and go, "Oh, you little something." Like, Zero on YouTube wrote, "My beard just grew a few inches while I watched this." I mean,
I love this next review though, Nathan. Rocky's face is the best blocking technique in the history of boxing. It's true.
I mean, they're not wrong.
It's true.
It's so... I just love it, because we're so used to it by now that for some reason every fucking fight, it starts off with him just standing still and just letting his opponent just like punch his face like nothing else.
It's insane. Oh. What a technique.
And last of the reviews, Mr. Ryder on YouTube wrote, "Rocky 1, Rocky loses to the world champ. Rocky 2, Rocky beats the world champ. Rocky 3, Rocky beats Mr. T. Rocky 4, Rocky beats communism itself."
Hey man, he's a talented boxer. He is a
talented boxer. Oh, Rocky. Well, Brenton, given that it's a milestone episode, we have another segment that we like to do every 10 episodes, you know?
We do. It's a special time.
It is a special time. You know, we say a lot of things on this podcast, and we're very in the moment. We have these impulsive responses, as most people do to movies. But every 10 episodes, we like to look back, sit by the fireplace, have a little cup of tea, and think to ourselves, were we wrong? Were we wrong about this past 10 we've done? So, Brenton, I'd like to look at our 40s. You know, we've raised our kid well. We've probably bought a drone. You know, we were deep in our 40s. We may have made some mistakes. So let's see if we can correct them by talking about the films we did.
Let's get going. Let's get cracking.
Okay, episode 40. We did the Godfather trilogy, if you remember that, Brenton. And we both loved the first one. We were mixed on the second. You said yes, I said no. And we both didn't recommend the third one. Have you changed on the Godfather trilogy?
No, I haven't. That's all still the same for the 3 of those.
No, like, it's just... I mean, I feel better now that there's been some distance from The Godfathers, and I still think you definitely, should at least watch that first one. But, yeah, it's a haul. It's a big haul, isn't it, Brenton?
It is.
Yeah. 41 was 7th season, so 42 takes us to Breakfast at Tiffany's, and we both loved it, Brenton. How's that age move for you?
Nothing's changed. Still love it.
Have you thought about it since? Like, has it been one of those movies that's stuck?
Not necessarily that it's stuck. I've thought about it in the sense that I think it's a great film, minus Mickey Rooney, but yeah.
But you know what has stuck with me? Orangey the cat.
Yes. Incredible.
I still think of Orangey very fondly.
Incredible performance.
43 was The Breakfast Club, and you said yes and I said no. Brenton, has that film gotten shittier since we last left it?
No, not at all.
Really?
I'm still baffled as to why you said no. Yes.
It's just,
yes.
I think maybe I was a little bit too harsh on it at the time, but like still, it's just so boring, and it's just... I really don't like that I dislike it because it's so revered, but I can't do it, Brenton. I just can't.
Come on, Nathan. Just do it.
I'm not changing it, mate. I'm standing by my fucking no. Don't you dare. Don't you get the sit back down, Brenton. You sit back down right now, mister.
Okay.
What are we doing? 44. 44 was our Disney double bill. We had Bambi and Fox and the Hound.
Yeah.
We both said no to Bambi, but you said yes to Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, fuck Bambi, but yeah, I stick by my yes. For sure.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, I know we both stand by our no to Bambi, and maybe we were too hard. Actually, no, Bambi does not hold up. Oh, come on. No, don't watch Fox and the Hound.
Yes, do it.
Why?
Come on, do it. It's such a great fun time.
No, it's not. It's just it's so bad.
I love the Fox and the Hound.
Even for a children's film, it's just I just can't, Brenton. But then again, after sitting through Rocky 4, maybe I can. I don't know.
Guys, do it. Do
it. We both went there. I can't. No, I'm standing by my no. I have to. The Matrix, Brenton. We both loved it. Is that still memorable with you for 45, Matrix?
Yeah, Matrix all the way, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Mad Max, however... We both said yes. How's that film aged for you, Brenton? The original Mad Max.
Dude, I'm sticking with a yes. Like, what are you doing this episode, man?
I don't know.
Yes, of course.
I may have
Mad
lost
Max.
myself with Rocky 4. No, it's good. It is good. I'm just thinking, like, I feel like, I don't know, because I've seen the other Mad Maxes. I feel like you can just watch Mad Max 2 by itself and maybe entirely skip Mad Max 1. Should I change it to a no? Should I be controversial?
Do what you think is right.
Oh, don't say that to me, Brenton. That's the biggest, like, fuck you can do. No, you're best friends with Bloody Goose. I can't.
Do what you want, man. Like, I stick by that film. I stand by it.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, fine. I'll stand by my yes. Yeah, watch Mad Max. It's a good time.
Yeah.
47. We did Happy Gilmore. Yep. You said yes. I said no.
There's a common theme in our 40s. I feel
there's a lot of negativity on my end and a lot of positivity on yours.
Yeah, dude. I stand by Happy Gilmore.
The only thing you said no to in our 40s was fucking Bambi and like
and The Godfather Part 3.
Oh, true. Yeah. You say yes to Happy Gilmore over bloody Godfather 3.
Yep, I do.
Don't watch Happy Gilmore. It uses Apollo Creed better than Rocky 4, but don't watch Happy Gilmore.
Guys, do it, please.
That's not good.
Please.
My Fair Lady. You know what? My Fair Lady's really stuck with me. We both said yes.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I think it's, you know what, it's one of those things that really grows on me.
Yeah.
You know what I read the other day? You know it's recently on in Broadway at the moment?
There was a revival, yeah.
So, spoiler alert for that. In the Broadway musical, she doesn't go back to Higgins.
No.
Did you know this?
No, I didn't. That's interesting.
Yeah, I read this the other day. Apparently, like, so that last scene where she goes back to Higgins and it completely undermines her whole character arc. In the Broadway musical, she doesn't go back. She walked out of him on the mother, and that's it. And I'm like, good! This is what needs to happen. So
not in the movie. It's film lasts forever, man. It's there forever.
Oh, what a shame. And then last week's Bond episode, The Spy Who Loved Me, we both loved it. Brenton, he's still saying yes to Jaws.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Iconic. Absolutely iconic. No, we'd be pretty good with our ratings. I think we're getting more comfortable with them, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, like, those 40s were interesting. It was funny going back through that. Like, yeah.
Oh, our 40s. I feel like the way we're aging on this podcast, like, our 40s was a weird time. We're having this weird midlife crisis. Like,
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, that was, guys, that was looking back on those 10 films, and today was Rocky 4.
Rocky 4. Oh, what a time, Brenton. I didn't know I had so much hype for Rocky 4 because of what the first 3 were.
Yeah.
And I wish this film was something else, but in so many ways, I'm really glad of what it was.
Yeah, that's the perfect answer. That's exactly right.
You know, yeah, you know, this is our 50th episode. We'll probably do the big 1 year thing for 52, because then it would have actually been a year, or maybe 53, however long a year is. But hey, if you've listened to the previous Rocky episodes, thank you for sticking with us. If you haven't, please listen to the Rocky episodes. They're some of our best, I think.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, and please, if you've seen Rocky 4, let us know what you think about it. If you're ardently in love with this film, please try and convince me why it's awesome.
And those that do think it's awesome, hey, I'm right there with you. But guys, thank you so much for your support through our last 50 episods. Gosh, what a milestone!
Yeah, God, we're in our 50s, man. Now our kids are bloody going through high school at the moment. We're going to be tearing up soon. You know,
we're looking death straight in the eye. You know what I mean? It's coming for us.
We're probably going to find bottles of vodka in our kids' wardrobes. You know, we're going to catch them with a packet of cigarettes out at the shopping mall. Like,
gosh, the adventures to be had.
But yeah, so thanks for listening, and catch us next week for another fun episode. What's happening next week? I don't even know, man. Like, hopefully better than Rocky 4.
Guys, we out.
Wait a minute, Brenton.
What?
Hello. This is Nathan Drago, the Russian version of Nathan von Podcast.
Oh, hello.
I have one thing to say to you, Brenton.
Yes?
I will break you into 2.
He literally did it.